As the light of day fades to dusk, we see from the perspective of Clavius, standing amidst the overgrown village of Dale Ridge. The buildings of the small village's central hub have fallen into disrepair from many years of disuse and abandonment. As Clavius peers into the light woods ahead, he sees a dark-robed figure, a hood pulled low over their head, slowly turning to face him. The dark interior of the hood, completely black and obscuring. But Clavius feels the burning eyes that must be veiled in shadow beneath, staring right at him, into him, through his very flesh and bone, and into what lies beneath, at what lies deep, deep down within. As Anna, Saru, and Xerxes catch up to Clavius, now just standing there on the dirt path of this once main street of Dale Ridge, the hooded robe falls to the earth as if the figure within was no longer there to hold it aloft upon their head and shoulders, as if they vanished from within the robe entirely and let the cloths fall behind the light brush in the woods. We begin our game here, adventurers.
I run over to the cloak and I step on it a few times, turn off my lightsaber and walk away.
Obi-Wan!
Yeah, very much like that. But no lightsabers. Except, I think Steven kind of has a lightsaber.
Like two that we sort of have.
What do you do?
It was there or there?
Yeah, kind of in this direction. Map is pretty much just here for like general ambiance right now. So don't worry too much about positioning.
He would know where he is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn back and tell Saru and Xerxes. I think I saw something, but it's something I recognize. There's no danger. If you want to have the others go ahead and set up camp, I mean, you can keep an eye out, but maybe give me a little space. Anna can come if she wishes, or hang back as well, but I am comfortable checking this out and would prefer to do so, like, without breathing down the back of my neck, other than the shadow.
Do you want me to join you, Clavius?
I don't think there's any danger. There's not much here. Certainly nothing that can...
Anna will nod and just let him go. But she won't go. She'll probably linger with an eye. I think she will linger with an eye towards Clavius. And take if he disappears around the edge, move so she can see him. But we'll keep her distance and try not to be a total snoop.
See, I'll just go up to where whatever that was that I saw and start searching around.
Dope.
Assuming that my massive 19, 16, and 18 perceptions are still carrying over from week to week.
Classic.
As is tradition.
As is tradition, as always. We just carry those over. So Clavius, as you kind of walk off, Anna watching on, and then I assume Saru and Xerxes kind of hanging out with Anna, watching on. The rest of the group will kind of start to pull up to your general position, like the Saru, Xerxes, and Anna. And it is kind of dusk at this point, and so you guys were here to kind of make camp. So if this is kind of where you want to start that, you can, as Clavius kind of walks a little ways off. Clavius, you're still within view of like Anna at this point, and just kind of in this kind of lightly, like the beginning of like woods, basically. And you're in probably the area of which that you think you saw what you saw, this hooded figure that no one else seemed to see. You can make a perception or investigation check. Your call. You guys technically survival too. Lots of options. So initially, as you're kind of looking around, you don't see really signs of anything passing through, and it is, late fall or getting to that point. There's not really, you don't see any footprints or matted grass, anything like that. The shrubs don't have any like broken branches or missing foliage or anything out of place. Though that, kind of after a moment of just kind of looking around, of note, you don't see any cloth or robe or anything. But you do see in a patch of bare earth at the base of a tree what looks like a wooden haft, well-aged, half buried in the dirt, as you kind of like lean down to kind of get a better look. You uncover what appears to be like a small wooden axe, like a wood splitting axe, not like a Dvalin axe or anything, but just like a small wooden splitting axe, well worn and looks to have been discarded and forgotten here some time ago.
So I would say to that, the shadow is going to go crazy trying to pick it up, which of course it can't, because it can't interact with physical objects. But it is very much trying to get his hands on that axe, kind of looking back at Clavius like a dog that sees its toy just on the other side of the fence, knowing that it can't do anything to get it. And I'm gonna reach down and I'm gonna pick it up by the metal part. Does it still have a axe head on it?
It does, yeah. It still has a head. It's just kind of rusted.
I'm gonna pick it up by the axe head.
Yeah, so you kind of lodge it free out of some of the dirt that's there. It's kind of just, it looks rather old, just kind of like it's been left here for some time. And kind of as you're grabbing it and kind of starting to stand up, you hear a sound, Clavius. A thwunk, solid sound.
Is it coming from the axe?
It's not. It's in the distance, kind of further off to your north. And it sounds a lot like the thwunk of an axe striking a log.
Well, I'm going to check that out for two reasons. One, I'm interested, and two, because I was planning on going a little northwards anyway.
So from Anna and Saru and Xerxes kind of looking on, you see Clavius kind of start to move through the trees to the north, and it is like kind of lightly wooded. It gets a little more heavily wooded the further north you go, but it it never gets like aggressively thick as far as you can tell, at least not where you currently are. But you see Clavis just kind of walking off that.
Anna will glance back to Saru and Xerxes and say, "This looks like as good as any place to set up camp that we'll find. I'll go keep them. I can go keep them in eyesight." And she'll follow, sort of trying to keep the respectable distance, but doesn't really want Clavius just to disappear.
So at that, the dwarves that'll catch up, and everybody that'll catch up. The dwarves will happily start like setting up their portion of camp, which is probably clearing out one of these shelters and using what's there as kind of a shelter. Don't have to move them on the map, but anyone else, Saru, Xerxes, doing anything in particular?
Are either of those houses intact?
Yeah, a lot of them are intact to a point. Like there's roof, they're not fully enclosed, but you'd be
Can I
able
just
to head
climb
in.
up on the roof
Yeah, totally.
and just watch basically where Clavius is going
Totally.
while the rest set up camp?
Easily enough. So Saru kind of takes watch position over the top.
Steven's a little lagging on casting the hut because he's taking advantage of Anna not being around to try and flirt with Sarasa.
Nice.
Nice.
I feel like that needs to be on camera.
Got four pots boiling at the moment. Otherwise, we can do that next time.
Put a pin in it. It's happening. So as Clavius walks off, Anna following behind at a bit of a distance. Clavius continues north about a few hundred yards through these trees, these light woods, until you reach this kind of more open field of grass. Of note, kind of in this dusky lights, continuing to darken out. Though you don't need a torchlight to see at this point. It's not that dark yet. As you reach this area, this open field, to your northeast, about 150 or so feet from you is another one of these wooden structures. Small. It resembles a homestead, and Anna, you can start to make this out too. It looks very abandoned and not really lived in or likely used for shelter in some time. It's kind of leaning heavily to one side as if the ground beneath it has shifted a bit, and as you emerge from the woods, you can just barely hear the soft sounds of a trickling stream somewhere off behind this homestead.
Having been here, do I recognize it?
You do. You do recognize it.
And how far away from it am I?
What do I say, about less than 100 feet.
So the shadow's going to continually try to double move on its own to get to the house, and it keeps popping out of existence because it can't get more than 30 feet away. And I'll walk to it, and to Anna's and I guess Saru's sight, it's not really clear whether I'm calling the shadow back every time or not. But it's definitely trying to get to that house. And I'm trying to, but just a little more cautiously. Is that where the sound came from?
Yeah, it seems like it was somewhere in this direction, but kind of as you're approaching the house, again you hear a sound, and this time it's much more clear. You hear a loud thwunk of an axe impacting a log. Familiar sound synonymous with splitting wood. And it seems to be coming from around the house, like in the back of the house.
So that's where I'm heading. As I go around the side, the shadow's still going to try to go into the house, and it'll keep distancing itself out. But I'm going to go around and go toward the sound and not worry so much about the house.
Okay. Anna's still kind of following behind, I presume.
Yep. I don't really know what I say.
Yeah, so Clavius, as you round the wooden structure, and Saru, you can kind of see this through the trees. It's a little difficult, especially as he rounds, and as he rounds this structure, he kind of ends up out of your view a little bit. But you can still kind of make out Anna moving, like in that direction, and kind of slowing down, as she kind of still has eyes on Clavius. But Clavius, yeah, as you move around, you kind of see this field of overgrown, yellowing grass. It's kind of probably a little over knee height. The field goes back maybe 90 to 100 feet where these woods start again, like kind of a wall of the woods that surround this homestead area. And that soft trickle of a stream that seems to be kind of drying up a bit somewhere behind the field is kind of all you hear. But as you round the structure closer to the house, you see this sturdy wooden stump. It would be, the perfect stump for placing smaller logs upon before you hit him with an axe. And nearby on the ground is a small stack of split logs. These are long-aged and well-weathered, kind of in this haphazard pile. Nothing here seems to be recent. Just beyond that, maybe about 15 feet, is a rectangular stone of dull gray. It's obviously been worked into this kind of squared off shape. It's only about 6 inches across and half as thick, and it's jutting out of the earth, standing about 2 feet tall just before this field begins. And there is a subtle mound of earth before this marker that gives away its purpose. Any passerby could easily see that this is a grave.
That ignoring the urge to chop a piece of wood on that stump, that's where I'm going. Does anything... Yeah, that's where I'm going.
So you approach the stone?
Yeah. Does it have markings?
As far as you can tell, it does not.
The shadow is going to try to steal the vial around Clavius's neck that has the vampire blood from inside the sphere. The heart blood. Whatever it's in there. But again, he can't interact with physical objects, so Clavius is going to take it off, lay it on the stone, and tell the shadow, I will no longer be torn into. You were born here, and you will stay here.
Now I'm going to try something.
रात के गहरे सन्नाटे में Same shit, different day. Curse these winters. Just once I'd love not to do this first thing every morning. Maybe this is the year the boy learns to do this. Who am I kidding? He's more trouble than he's worth.
Not today, not ever. Most of the giant clans have already been pushed back into the White Steppe. But the champion of the most powerful clan is determined to push his way into the ring. Only one hero can stop. Our hero has slain many giants today, but this one is the toughest yet. He drives our hero back. His attacks are really powerful. But little does he know, he's falling right into my trap. Giant, you have fought well. But now you fall by the sword of the hero of the Gale. His name?
I don't care! I said I don't care. It was your idea to bring him here, Myra. You said it was charity, that the gods would protect us and reward us. We have nothing to show for it but a monster that puts us all at risk.
No, please, Glenn. He just needs more time. He's just scared. He's scared of this world, and he's scared of himself, and he doesn't know what he is either.
Enough. I've heard of this 100 times. Tomorrow I will deal with it, and we will be rid of him forever.
Please, you can't. He's just a child.
A child? A child? I don't know what he is, and neither do you.
into. I have done what I was put here to do.
To be that which you truly are is the bath of rebirth.
Is it done? I don't know why you honestly didn't have him chop the wood. You protect that boy too much.
To be that which you truly are is the path of rebirth.
Will, I'm really worried at what you've done to the arms race and the Connor Moylan Vanity Project. I think generations are going to suffer as a result of this wonderful, well-intentioned idea.
It's a labor of love. I had a blast making it. It's going to turn out on the YouTube video. The audio is going to be more in line. I guess it just doesn't play through Zoom that well. But I had a blast making it.
It looks really fun.
Nicole's tired of me talking about it. But what do
Can
you
I
think?
ask point of clarification? Were we supposed to know where, like, that first guy face down? Because, like, my audio cut out, so I don't know if I didn't hear something or if that part's still a question mark.
No, that's a rando.
Okay, got it.
Did you make a coin?
I bought that coin long enough ago that I was able to reference it in like session 7 or 8.
I remember the reference to it.
Yeah, you've had it for a while.
As
Oh,
you're
no.
using just all the people at your disposal for all your vanity projects from now on. Just don't know what you're doing with your lives.
Can I borrow Waco for mine?
Oh my god!
I'm also going to choose to believe that's all your land that you filmed on. You own that property.
It's all actually heated.
Yeah, exactly.
The cabin has heated floors out at Clinton Lake.
Is there a drone shot in there? Did I see a drone shot?
No.
That sped up running shot. Oh man, it's just so good. You have to watch it again. I'm sure the audio was crap because I think what it was doing was coming out of my computer and into Zoom, which is, I don't know why it wouldn't share it through my computer, but I don't have admin abilities to do that. We'll know from next time. Apparently, if you film your own vanity project, you have to share it yourself. Oh man. Oh man. I'm gonna have to play D&D after that. As we
That video has a lot of views on YouTube and it's set to private. I don't know what that says about me.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah.
Not before bed sometimes. Class.
Yeah, it'll be nice and spliced in to the thing, so you guys have to watch it. Watch it in its full clarity and volume.
Absolutely, that was
Because
awesome.
it's good. I may have watched it a few times already. And enjoyed it each time. As we shift back, we see Clavius standing before the grave. The shadow standing on the other side of the marker. We watch as our camera pans from a distance, Clavius slowly turn and begins walking slowly but decisively away, the way he came. Anna, you're kind of looking on. And as Clavius leaves our view, our camera kind of centers back upon the dark, semi-transparent shadow of Clavius. It stands there, emotionless beside the grave marker, looking forward in the direction that Clavius just left, unmoving as it often appears. Then there is a sudden jolt of static. And then another pulsing through the shadow form. Then the shadow blurs slightly and fades a bit. We can see more easily through the form now. The last thing we see is a subtle smile slowly creep across this shadow Clavius' face. And with another sudden flash of static, it vanishes. And our shot hangs upon this quiet field at dusk. Soft sounds of a stream trickling in the distance begins to fade until there is only silence. And then Clavius, you come upon Anna, kind of at the edge of this area. Game is back to you.
He says in his best Django Fett voice, we won't be seeing him again. No, he probably just walks by.
Anna would say, did you leave the shadow there?
Whether I left it or it decided to stay, I don't know. It feels like it's gonna stay there though, either way.
How does Anna would like to do a perception and just sort of see like how does you kind of like she's trying to like read Clavius's facial expressions.
He looks like he just dropped the ring into the fires of Mount Doom. Tired but relieved.
It's true, you can see this kind of exchange as the two of them kind of meet back up on the other side from your kind of vantage point above. And it looks like their intent is to walk back towards the main hub, as far as you can tell.
As they're walking back to Saru, Anna will offer and say, a wise man once told me, Clavius, the most important step one can take is the next one. And she'll walk back. offering nothing else.
As you get back to camp, you see the dwarves have kind of started clearing out this kind of area for where they'll be sleeping. I think for the most part, people are just kind of getting ready for the evening in Dale Ridge before heading back. If there's anything that anyone wants to do this evening before getting back to the Hollow, now's the op. Would share the calendar, but it's wrong. We're 1 day ahead on the calendar.
What is the current date?
21.
Yeah.
High harvest, 22nd. Or the 21st. I just looked at the calendar. Calendar says 22nd. That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. I made a note. It says it is the 21st. So yeah, if there's anything anyone wants to do this evening before bedding down, now's your time. If not,
is Udo gonna let me look at his spell book?
He'll let you look over it, but
he wants to wait till.
Yeah, okay. He doesn't want to do any exchanges at this point. Just thinks it's safer to do it when you're back in the safety of the place that you guys are bringing them. But he'll let you look it over.
And Steven is copying in one of the spells from the Dwarven spellbook.
Cool. Anything from anybody?
I was just working on potion stuff, but we already talked about that.
Yeah. Nope. Now it's the 22nd. Your night passes peacefully in Dale Ridge. Waking up in the morning on the 22nd.
Real quick point of order, Michael. How many hours total from when we bedded down to when we're headed out did we have?
I mean, it would be like 12 at least, and probably maybe more. Depends on how early in the morning you guys want to get going.
Okay. Cool. Then Steven got at least 2, if not 3 spells.
Oh. Meditation. Alrighty then. In the morning. You can make your way to good old Hollow. Can also move through the day, if you please. If there's anything anybody wants to do specifically while you're on the way there, you obviously can. But I know a lot of you have eyes on downtime as well. As many of us have talked about. On your approach to the entrance to the Hollow, I know it was your intent to blindfold the dwarves, leading them through. They will abide, maybe with a little bit of back and forth, but eventually they will abide. They understand your intent on trying to keep this place hidden and safe, and you don't necessarily know them all that well. So they won't put up too much of a fight. By the time you get in, so we just fly through the hours. probably about early evening on the 22nd. Guess I can put us on the hot. Not that it really matters. It's really dark. Is it dark?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They turned that. Okay. When the page updated, it must have updated dynamic lighting, turning them on. How about now? That's funny. That's funny. They turned dynamic lighting on. This. Okay. So you're at the Hollow. You've made it back. It is early evening, and kind of at the dock area, you would be greeted by a small contingent of candles at the Stonewater District, who would be expecting you as you've been able to converse with Arthur, who is here in the Hollow over the stone as many of those days as you wished, and you guys kind of updated each other. We talked about that last time. Just kind of breezed over those sendings because, 25 words and all that. But you would be led to the Hollow Manor, where Lady Evelina would like a word and maybe an update with the group of you. As you're brought in, the dwarves would be kind of led to a separate room, and that would probably include Dvalin, unless you insisted that he come with you, just because he's also a new member of the Hollow.
Hanging out with the dwarves.
Perfect.
I think we're all going to insist that Dvalin come, because I very much want to see Nick have to role play two characters.
That's one birthday present you're not getting.
We already took you to a movie. So yeah, the dwarves, the dwarves, and did you blindfold the hippogriff? I don't know. Maybe. Who's to say? We'll hash that out when we need to.
Now that's a phrase I've not heard in a very long time.
The dwarves and the hippogriff will be in a separate room, and you'll be brought to the same room that you've been brought into many times before, where the Lady of the Hollow is seated at the table, awaiting you. Standing behind her is a familiar face. Arthur is in the house, standing kind of on the wall behind her. And you can all take your seats. The lady will say, "Greetings, friends. We welcome you back with open arms, as we always will. The Hollow, as you know, is in your debt and here to be of what little help we can in these times to come. Arthur," she looks over her shoulder, "told us of your predicament a few days ago, and we're pleased to know that you've made it through unscathed. And with some new dwarf company, it seems. We can speak more on that later. What is the news of the valley? Did you make it as far as the city of Mountain Rock? And what brought you so very close to bringing us to the state of alarm? As you recall, Clavius sent a very spooky message those few days ago. So yeah, she just wants to be informed with whatever info you want to give.
mean, I would think we would just give Lady Evelina straight,
Give openly.
give openly. I don't think there's anything that would need to be withheld.
Dope.
So I mentioned getting there, mentioned the airship, mentioned Emil, mentioned Dvalin, mentioned getting down to what we think is a passage to Mountain Heart, and then the pods, and then meeting the other dwarves, and sort of explaining their mission of they'll probably be here for a little bit, but it seemed like the safest place. They might be like training and studying and getting ready, but they will almost certainly head back to Mountain Heart at some point.
Kind of after blow after blow after blow of these bullets of information. She seems to take it generally well, though she seems quite concerned about what you saw down there. She seems interested in dwarves. She would kind of look to Arthur at some point and say, like, seems some of what they're wanting is maybe aligning the same as ours. Possibly. They could be an asset. Arthur, would you like to disclose your side of the events down south?
I think now's as good a time as any to relay what I witnessed. Travelled with Kat for many days, pursuing the caravan. We travelled south initially, and then west once we got to Perigus Lake. We wound up at the base of the mountains, about a half day's journey from north and northeast from the Kestrel Academy. There we came upon a cave. I snuck up on them at nightfall and witnessed the 52 of them in the caravan and the 3 wagons offloading what I could only presume was setting up a new base of sorts at this cave. Many of the unseen were about. Some stood guard while others worked. I took note of a great man who goes by the name of Melkor. He seemed to be somewhat of the leader of this bunch. There was also a woman and a grey, silver-haired individual. And lastly, I saw my cousin. He's apparently joined forces with him, though. He wasn't acting like I would think that he might have. I do not yet know if he's under some sort of spell. It seems the lot of the unseen might also be under. Or perhaps he's converted to some perverse form of religion. As I gazed upon them outside the mouth of the cave, I watched the 2 of the leaders go inside. It was then I watched this witch of a woman first raise her arms, and then sprout 2 more and raise them, and then sprout yet again 2 more. Foul beasts came forth from the cave and began to slaughter the unseen. I watched as all of them fell. It was then I watched them all rise once more in some sick zombie-like fashion, perhaps, and they began to go about their work once more until all the caravans were unloaded and we all went inside the cave. I stayed my watch. I begged the lady to send Yofun as fast as possible, and he came. The 2 of us waited, him at times flying, scouting the area, me and Kat always vigilant. We watched and we waited until it made sense no more. There's naught we could do to storm it, there's naught we could do should they show face, but it seems after quite some time, several days, there was little activity. And I would think that they've set up a base there once more to go about whatever evil magics they're doing. Yofun then took Kat and I past the Kestrel Academy. There was not much to be seen there. It seemed where life once was. There were strange statues of what might have once been living, frozen in place upon the battlements and inside the area. Yofun then took us back to the Hollow, where we arrived a few days before you. And that is what I saw.
When you say the unseen, is it members of the unseen in the black, or is it the Chaos Legion members with their carvings on their forehead?
It seemed to be a mix of them. I didn't know the exact numbers, only that I counted 52 in total.
But there seems to be no difference treated between the Chaos Legion and the Unseen by this necromancer of sorts.
It seemed that all fell, and then all rose once again. Aside from a few of the guards, my cousin, Melkor, and this grey-head thing.
Was Melkor dressed in the all-black garb of the Unseen?
I think that'll have to defer to the DM.
Yeah, he was in pretty much the same robes that you had seen on those days previous when you had previously scouted. He was the kind of large guy in robes and a breastplate. I think that's what he was wearing that day. But yeah, black breastplate, dark black robes.
You said they were floating when you started off, like when you first got to the cave, they were floating?
No, the witch seemed to be floating of sorts, but no.
Got it.
Once they all died, they were risen.
Did they look like the other undead we've encountered with the orange eyes?
I could not quite see that. I did not see any glow. I only saw the freshly dead rise.
Did you see the crystals from the cave? Did those go with them?
I didn't.
We've been missing that.
I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've spoken to Arthur.
It seems there were many small things, but as you know, many a nickel maxim.
Can you say anything else about the gray-haired one that you've been speaking of?
I can't. I did not witness much more than that.
Arthur had to make checks in the
I
there were some things that he didn't quite get to see.
I did not do well.
Did you recognize like the beasts that came out? Was they something you had seen before?
1 second. I gotta break character and break the game. I gotta go.
Oh, you're muted. You're muted?
Fuck, somebody's at the door picking up something. 1 second. Carry.
I can answer that question for you.
That'd be great.
So there was it was kind of dark in this moment, and he was kind of back off in the woods a ways from the entrance. So a lot of stuff was obscured, and there was only these torchlights around. He saw these dark shapes small, kind of like darting about, and he couldn't really get a good look at them. He couldn't really tell how they were falling, these people, but I mean, all of them were basically screaming and running around in kind of terror as these members of the unseen were kind of falling down and hitting the dirt. And yeah, this was after he mentioned Melkor and the white-haired guy and the Reuben, his cousin, descend into the cave, and the apparently six-armed woman standing there kind of like watching all of this happen.
So the white-haired guy is separate from the woman.
Yep.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it also sounds like it's unclear whether, being a little meta, whether he saw like actual beasts or just something demonic. He just saw.
He saw these.
He didn't know if he saw dretches or
exactly,
wolves, or just something that was like, oh, got it.
These small dark shapes, just kind of like darting about, moving kind of quickly, but kind of like maybe running on all fours. It's hard to tell. But that was about all. I think all he was able to kind of make out in that moment. A lot of pandemonium and chaos happening. But yeah, they all just started falling kind of one by one. And after it was all done, he didn't see the beasts anymore.
Since Nick isn't here, Clavius will take this opportunity to be surprisingly jovial now that he's without that shadow, and we'll say to him something on the scene, the interaction between him and Steve, and be like, so, you're the one of us, probably the only one of us ever, who got to ride on a dragon? What's that? Could you explain that to the rest of us, since we won't have that opportunity?
Steven goes to hit you, and then it's a shocking grasp.
Lightning flares in Steven's eyes.
More interested in understanding how Cat rode the dragon.
Yeah, that's a good question too.
Just trying to wait for him to say that we learned something important. And didn't split the party for no reason.
I forgot Cat was in the room. Cat is also in the room. Because of course Cat is in the room.
And I should really break it and take speak with animals sometime.
Ooh.
Right, I'm back.
I explained the some of the stuff.
Nice.
I didn't do your voice because I can't.
I was at work today, and I was like, it's been a long time. Just try to remember the accent. I'm gonna have to watch some videos or something, man.
What else? What else, Arthur? Any other questions about the old Southern Trail?
And he didn't see what they were doing, just that they were kind of fortifying, unloading the caravans in the cave, and
yeah, unloading those big boxes and taking them down.
Wildly poor rolls. I don't think there was anything above a 10, and there were lots of rolls.
It was not great.
That's not what you want.
It was very, very.
And I knew he was telling me the truth because he was giving them to me over email.
It was so bad.
And he was not very happy.
That's amazing.
This was a long time ago. So.
This was a minute ago.
So the
more
good
than
Nick
100
rolls.
days ago?
The good Nick rolls weren't coming yet.
The pre-administration?
Possibly.
Yeah, good question.
I think
Oh,
maybe.
no. It was just after the inauguration. It was.
Arthur carried him over with him.
Yeah.
He's been sapping all those bad rolls away from falling.
Yeah. He saw stuff, just not all the stuff. So it goes, you know.
Anna will kind of rub her forehead like I'm doing right now and just be like, I seem to get more information, and yet don't seem any closer to finding out what is actually going on here.
Can you try and describe the silver-haired bro some more? Or do you want to cut to it? Was that a bad roll too?
I think I already asked that.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
so-
sorry.
Yeah, I said gray.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's because when I heard it, I thought they were the same as the woman, but nope. Never mind.
I was. Don't worry, Marshall. You weren't alone in that thought process. I had it written down as the same.
Scrawny figure, long white hair, and a hunch to his posture. Wears travelling clothes over leathers. Carries a small pouch clutched close to his chest.
Race?
Humanoid.
Is Dwarven included in humanoid?
Did not seem short and stout.
Okay, cool.
But again,
Michael's this.
rolls were bad.
Isabel has a hunch.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a actual description at my hand right now, Michael. But Isabel would essentially just start describing that, but with like more detail, filling in what Arthur doesn't know.
You know this being.
He went by the name Gautier, or well, Pitmaster Gautier, the dungeon and torture master of House Butchered in the Unseen. He and Melkor worked very close together, and I worked with them for a time.
You've already seen Melkor. That's him. Gautier was that real beauty before.
Looks like Brad Pitt from Fury mixed with John Bernthal. And an ogre.
Isabel would know. Yeah, Gautier is a half-elven gentleman.
Definitely not the pretty kind.
Definitely not the pretty kind.
More on the human than the elf, huh?
Yeah.
It's tough. I'm full human, so. I would like to say something. Arthur, what would you have us do about this place? It sounded like it could be quite dangerous and heavily fortified, but I also understand your kin is there. Do you wish for us to storm the castle? Or should we leave it alone?
I would not have you do anything you've got no man to do. I would defer that request to the Lady Avalena. I've my own mind about what I'd like to see take place of that. But my actions carry out her will.
Can I do a check on the relationship between Arthur and the lady? Because they're seeming awfully chummy.
You don't have to do a check, for it is at that point that the lady will kind of nod to Arthur and inform group of you that Arthur's kin that you speak of once held a role in the Hollow as scout and protector. I have offered this title to Arthur on his return from these caves to the south. He is not bound to stay in the Hollow, but he is at this point bound to protect it in whatever ways he sees fit. Arthur and I have the same mind as to strengthen the North and defend it. So that is what we wish to do. And it seems the North is threatened from all sides. I have not seen either of these places on first hand, and your instincts have been good. I do not know which threat is greater. And if you need to speak more on these matters so we can make a decision, then that is what we will do. If you don't wish to have anything to do with any of this, the only one here that is bound is Arthur. But I would implore you to join us somehow to fight these threats, whatever they may be truly after, I don't know.
Steven will mutter under his breath, damn NPCs.
As I told you before, I have started working on a possible, call it a home, call it a base of operations, call it what you will, here in the Hollow for the group of you. An old guild hall. Should be livable probably within a week or so. The group of you can take it as a place of your own while you're here in the Hollow. There's plenty of rooms for the bunch of you, as well as rooms for guests. So it seems you may happen to bring more back with you on future travels, possibly. There's also plenty of space for meta expansion and customization.
I was going to say, can we get a liquor license?
There are plenty of crafters and artisans in this place that would love to take your fortune of gold and make this place your own. But she's basically saying, like, she hopes that you'll take this place as a home and kind of think of it as a home and want to protect it. That's kind of her angle at the moment. As Arthur's kind of the only one that has a true binding here. But yeah, she's not going to tell you what to do, obviously. You guys aren't her force, spec ops force to do, even though you did do a great job in that cave. But yeah, she's open to discussing it more, and I think that's kind of what you all want to do. Is kind of decide what your next moves are. With all the cards now on the table. If you have any more questions for her or for Arthur that is buried in Nick's emails and all that stuff, I think we covered it all pretty well.
Can I do a perception check on the DM that says cards on the table after mentioning very specifically several times that there were exactly 52 members?
I didn't say 52 once.
Group.
I didn't say 52 once.
I've got this deck of cards with each of their names and going all the way up to the ace of spades.
Who are the aces?
The Dom.
Marley doesn't have the Motorhead drop for ace of spades. No.
Never even would have thought to put that.
Let's do an 820, and then we can kind of discuss and move forward with downtime after that.
Hello again.
Hello there.
All right. So,
What now becomes of this fellowship?
yeah, I mean, if you guys would like to do downtime and then figure this out, or maybe just figure this out and then do downtime, because then you know how much downtime you're going to have, that type of idea. Because if you guys are planning to turn around and leave tomorrow, that obviously affects your downtime. So. That's kind of the elephant in the room, as it were. Figuring out your next direction. It's my dog. Laps water. Very loud.
Thirsty.
Yeah, we may as well just figure it out, right? I feel like
Yeah, we in no rush.
we got 3 options. I see 3 options, or maybe more. Right? There's like Mountain Heart route, there's Cave with 6-Armed Lady route, and there's Grey Forge route. We say those are kind of our 3 plot hooks that our DM has sort of dangled in front
Yeah,
of our
like the
faces.
3 main ones.
Yeah, the main ones. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure I mentioned Paragus Lake. And I'm sure there's other like smaller like side questy things, but those are the main hooks.
They all kind of seem equally viable to me. I don't know if everyone else feels that way, but it's all like we're all figuring out what the heck's going on. It all seems like it's connected in some way. It's just a matter of like which one should we do first.
I don't know if this would really move the needle, but for the lady and Arthur, did Yofun have any information to share, so to speak, in Arthur's interaction with them? Is Yofun still like present in the, he checks in when he checks in, or is his situation changed?
On the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but no, I think his situation kind of back to typical of Yofun. He was doing this as a favor for Arthur, and Arthur would have explained that he and Yofun talked about different battle plans, but ultimately, the only thing he could have done really was either to wait indefinitely or to try to invade with the 3 of them, Yofun being in not dragon form. And as enticing as that may have been, more important to bring good intel back than to risk certain death.
Yeah, and just as an aside there, I think Arthur got the sense that like Yofun would have only helped to a point because he felt he was doing a favor. He kind of made it clear that if Yofun ever felt in danger, Yofun was gonna get the fuck out and leave Arthur to his own, kind of thing.
So not really on the table then. In an obvious way, we could try persuading or making.
Yeah, totally.
But not in a. It's not like the tower where like, oh, this is a problem for me, so our interests are now mutually aligned.
Yeah. He seemed to be like very careful, especially like when he like flew Arthur and Kat back. Like Arthur mentioned maybe seeing Kestrel, and he was happy to abide, but he did it from a distance. And he just like he seems fairly like careful in his approach to things.
It might be beneficial to just go round robin, how people are feeling, for the sake of time, right? So if you've got like a feeling of, I think we should do this, strongly, or I don't really care, or whatever, it'd probably be helpful. So I can start, since it was my idea. I personally think that going to Mountain Heart makes the most sense. We just found the dwarfs. We have a very clear place to go with Spire. So it's like very clear to me that we have a direction and a place to go. Whereas the other ones are more nebulous. Like, oh, well, we go in this direction and we hang out, or we figure out what's going on in Greyforge. But from a character perspective, Xerxes doesn't have any skin in the game in any three areas necessarily. He's open to whatever the group wants to do, but just I think that makes the most sense personally. So,
Michael, do we think we could get back? Like, even if we took like, how many days do we think are left in like a decent travel weather to like get to Mountain Heart and back? Like, would we think we only have like it's a matter of weeks, or it'd have to wait until winter passes?
So to get to Mountain Heart, you think you likely have the next month or so of time before winter hits. If winter hits early, like in early fall or in late fall, which is totally possible, all cards on the table for weather. If my generator says it's a cold fall day and a heavy snow happens, that's what happens. Like, that's when winter begins. And so my generator is seasonal based, but it is possible for snow to fall.
Sure.
In the next, like, probably not this month. This month is almost over. But when the next month starts, snow is technically on the table. It's just a smaller chance because it's not officially winter yet. So yeah, there's one more month of fall left, but it's November basically.
And rough guesstimation of just straight travel time, not worrying about encounters or anything like that. It looks like maybe 5 days to the cave, 10 days to Greyforge, and we just came from Mountain Heart, so like 3 to 4 days. Is that ballpark enough? Obviously, that's leaving out big question marks for we run into stuff or the situation changes.
Yeah, like six-ish days to the cave at a good pace.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems fair. What, 268? Yeah, 10 to 11 days to Greyforge, and then obviously shorter to Mountain Heart, depending on your go. And you don't know exactly where the spire is, but the dwarves do.
So it seems Greyforge slightly percentage chance lower, but it seems reasonable we could get to wherever we want to go and probably back, with a healthy amount of time spent. And not...
Greyforge is basically your only like long distance, like, because how long would you stay there? And
right.
Yeah, if we're going to Greyforge, it's probably the winter / like, yeah, that's like the. And as Greyforge comes up, Anna would be like, if we're going to Greyforge, the only way we're getting out probably is if we top, Selrani, if either Selrani thinks we're useful and can assign us to something, or if we're in charge, for lack of a better term. Like, she's not going to let me in particular, probably any of us, leave the northern Godswall unless she thinks like, oh, I can use them to go to check on Starrow Town, the remains of that or something, or check in on those people, whatever, scratch my back and take care of those bandits to the south.
Steven will cast Minor Illusion to give him 2 guns, just like Xerxes, and like say the word on it. Let's do it. I have Minor Illusion now, Michael, in case you're wondering.
Dope, good spell.
No, just ignorant question. Are we worried about the winter as in like we can get stranded and die out in the cold, or like we just need to buy some winter coats and we're okay? I'm honestly asking.
I think kind of in the middle. I think like I don't think it's like a die situation, but I think like it hampers our travel. It hampers our, you know, it's a change in what the status quo.
Yeah, so definitely in the north and near the mountains, it's going to be a lot harder to travel, especially if there's a lot of snow in the winter. You will need traveling clothes, gear, winter clothes, which you have a lot of money. It's easy to purchase that, obviously. But like, this isn't definitely isn't the coldest portion of this continent. It gets colder further north. Yeah, in this mountainous area, especially, it gets cold. But it does get cold and it does snow all the way down towards Briarwood. Winter does happen and it occurs worse in the north. So in game terms, you're going to need, like, if you're traveling long distances in the winter, it's just things are a little bit difficult.
I can go next in terms of Nate's round robin suggestion.
Yeah, if you're one,
I think that's a good idea, just so that we can all.
If you're not zoomed out enough on the map, I put Xerxes near Mount Heart, just so that you have a visual aid to see. Doesn't mean you're voting or anything, but it's just so you see.
I would vote new southern cave base, especially hearing about necromancy witch lady. Agree with Nate's point. I think that one has the similar of place and place and something to do, and don't want to let them regain a foothold because they're the ones who seem to actively be doing shit, like causing trouble and problems for other places in the valley, whereas Mountain Heart still seems to be sleepy. Whether that stays the same because we went there, who can know? Definitely hear that point as well. But they're the ones going around traveling, and they have those crystals that they were trying to do something with, and that's tied to Yo Food and with the y'all's 0.5 as well. So that's my vote, or my preference, I shouldn't say vote. We're not voting, so we vote with blood.
Any other preferences out there? Make yourselves known.
Sorry, before anyone else possibly goes. Nick, I don't know if this puts you in a comfortable spot, but do you mind shedding some light on if you're thinking through this decision with Arthur, if you're thinking through with Dvalin? Are you kind of stepping back and seeing which way the tide is turning and then kind of making a choice there? Can you share just a little bit? Because I'd be curious if Dvalin, like you said, Arthur's now the protector and the scout. So, other than Greyforge, those seem to make sense for him. But, does Dvalin weigh into this, or do you want to speak to that?
Dvalin's not present. He's with the dwarves. But Arthur's preference is south to go seek out Witch Lady and put that as the most imminent threat to bed if possible.
And so, do you think we get the sense, since Dvalin's hanging out with the dwarves so much, that he's going to be going to Mountain Heart with the dwarves? Would that be the reasonable inference?
I don't know that we know that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think as far as that goes, you're mostly, the dwarves got put in that room because they were the 4 new people, and even though you picked up Dvalin before, you picked up those 3, they're all the same level of new to the high level.
And I also thought I asked because this was going to turn into a very meta conversation. So,
sure.
So to your point, Nick, of yes, I know Dvalin's not in the room, but if you're comfortable at some point tipping your hand a little bit. It sounds like you're saying Arthur is going to be the back in the game, but maybe I'm putting words in your mouth.
Putting words in my mouth. Arthur's preference is to go south, and Ballin's not present.
Yeah, I think the read there is it probably depends on what the party does.
Yep.
So let's go to Grey Forge and
who's going where.
Go to Grey Forge, and I'll roll a new character.
Maybe Volney though. Who knows? Who knows what those dwarves are doing?
Clavius don't care. He wants his tattoo, and he wants his shield, and he wants to read his book in the library and study his bridges and go to his shops, and will defer to the majority. He won't say any of that, but that's what he thinks.
He stays swayable in the middle.
Wild card, bitches.
There's only 52 cards in a deck, Will. Come on.
He'll be whatever.
54 if you count the jokers.
He'll be whatever Gotham needs to be.
And 56 if you count the instructor.
Sure.
No one counts the instructions.
Never played cards with me.
Mountain Heart is where I lean to, but there's also concern that Lady Evelina literally just said, hey, I used to have a scout that knew all about the city, and he's down there with them, so pick your poison.
I think Isabel's not really sold on going to one or the other between Mountain Heart and the cave yet. She would just remind people that, you know, if we're just going around putting out fires all the time, we're not going after, you know, our main goal of stopping them from seating a demon prince on a throne, you know, the celestial throne. You know, or we're going to lose time. And she just wants to go after whatever goes after that main goal the most.
Do you have a thought, Croft, on if any of the main goals points that direction? Because that's a great point.
Yeah. I don't like. I think that pretty much rules out Grey Forge at this point, just because it's far away and we don't really know a whole lot about what they may know. Mountain Horror is definitely a weird situation, but there could be something down there. Maybe slightly leaning towards the cave because there are people, you know, people that we could potentially get information out of down there. More certainly than Mountain Heart.
Anna, I guess I lean towards the cave. She would like to talk to the dwarfs, and it would be pretty important to her. She would really want to try to instill upon the dwarfs to be like, hey, can you wait till, like, I know you want to, like, rescue Mountain Heart, but, like, you've been waiting this long, like, do you think you can wait until, like study, learn, train up, get ready, equip yourself here, and, like, do you think you can wait till spring? Because if the dwarves are gonna, like, turn around and be like, no, we need to go to Mountain Heart in, like, the next couple days, I would hate to lose, like, the allies / the people who know the Spire in that area to get in, just because she thinks they could be useful, and having someone navigate, so they don't have to try to go back through that the way we came would be good. I feel like Anna's been trying to think about this big picture and is, like, you know, really trying to think about, like, the whole like realm is threatened by the empty, celestial realm, so to speak, and whatever's going on with magic. And it seems like the people who are in the cave are more directly affecting that than Mountain Heart. I think she sort of agrees with Steven's assessment that Mountain Heart, I mean, we may have just kicked the hornet's nest and we come back to the hollow and there's just pod dwarves swarmed the area and we screwed up. But she sort of thinks that Mountain Heart has lain dormant this long. There's at least a better chance they will continue to lay dormant. And she's also sort of thinking like, we're going to need all the Veil united, possibly, or at least not actively harming us, and the cave threatening Briarwood. And since they are affiliated with, somewhat affiliated with the cave that we defeated of the Abyss in some way, that they seem to be more actively trying to mess with it. So the cave feels like a more imminent threat, even though it's going to be probably harder than going to Mountain Heart, because we're going to have to figure out, what we're going to do, basically. But the other thing is factoring weather in on the side of like, if we did kick a hornet's nest in Mountain Heart, it will probably, the weather is on our side, and that if whatever is controlling the dwarves decides to become a more active player in the realm, it would most likely, it's more likely that we'll wait till spring, while the cave will continue to be active and doing things. So, yeah, she agrees no Greyforge right now. And if the dwarves are like, no, we're going to Mountain Heart in a week, she would want to put it back on the table just because she values having allies.
Bent wants to know if there's a lake nearby any of the places.
I think we got Finn at the best location we could possibly get him.
Yeah, Finn's quite happy at the hollow.
The whole continent.
Quite happy.
So, and Anna would volunteer to go talk to the dwarves and sort of feel them out on what their plan is.
Yeah, obviously they would need time to adjust here, so they wouldn't know quite yet. But you get this sense that you could possibly persuade them with like the things you're saying, like the weather, and that they could, with the blessing of Avelina, they could stay here and possibly grow in, health, power, XYZ. That they're open to that possibility.
And Anna sort of would also emphasize, like, I think we need their help to defeat whatever down there, but I also think they need our help. And that if the three of them go in, or if four of them go in, if Vaughn goes with them, it's a fool's errand. And they're likely to find themselves dead or in pods.
Or worse, expelled.
Get out. I know it wasn't a vote, but currently I was seeing kind of a heavily sway to the south.
So,
Which is a bummer because Grey Forge would have been really fun.
Me personally, I would love to go to Grey Forge, but
Let me snap a picture of Croft, put him over in Grey Forge,
Yeah. You
Playing.
can do that with Marshall as well.
playing themselves.
I can't believe this is going to come out of my mouth, but nobody is worried about the entire deck of cards number of people that are waiting for us there. Because if
I
we're
mean-
down to storm 52 people, I would want nothing more in this world, but knowing all of you, I'm typically the only one that's down to clown with that many people. I was down for it. We found him the first time. I was ready to go.
Now they're all zombos.
I mean, yes, you're right, Nate, but also it's fighting a Mind Flayer in Mountain Heart. Don't feel great about that either. So,
with a potential dwarven army.
yeah. So, it feels like a pick your poison in terms of
By the way, it sounds like we about to XP
making up monsters in places.
Yeah, for sure. Some of us like high levels, Nate.
Hey, I'm always the first one to shoot, so believe me, I'm cool with it. But
Locked and loaded. Do you have a timeline?
I mean, Anna and Clavius both want tattoos. Those are full day
Full day
experiences.
affair. Yeah. 2 days, probably at least.
Yeah, at least 2 or 3 days.
They have the materials to do it on the spot.
I do after I visit the 11 different places that I rolled the D12 that I would have to go and visit.
There's some jewelers here. Yeah, get some exchange rates.
I would help you go get stuff if you somehow mentioned that you had to go to 11 different stores. Like, I would literally be like, hey, give me half your list.
Sure, he would do that so long as they could split up. Clavius does not want to go shopping with Saru all day. Nothing personal, but
Sounds like something personal.
Yeah, see, you bump into him at like every other shop. Oh, hey, you're here too.
Oh, I thought you were going to this one, or I was going to this one.
Yeah, I actually offered to help, but it actually ends up taking twice as long.
That's perfect. So I'm here in at least 2 days, maybe 3. So 20 end of the 22nd day right now. So we're in early evening.
Or we could wait until our place is ready, so we have like a good place to store shit.
Yeah. So it'd be a week.
Yeah, I think a week makes sense just because Anna's going to want to, if we have a place to store stuff, like a chest or something, Anna's going to want to like lock up the gold and not have to carry around, like use the bag of holding for other things other than like,
Dope.
you know, thousands of pounds of gold
Seems fair.
or thousands of gold pieces for everybody. Just so, and Anna would mention to Arthur that his share of the gold from the cave is in the bag.
That is too kind.
It is too kind.
It really is.
That is correct. Yeah.
Arthur's like, just you can give it to a dwarf nearby if you want.
That's between him and the dwarf.
What about my share?
whoever drinks more whiskey at Chaudhry's gets the gold.
So Clavius gets the gold in the end, it seems. One way or another.
I mean, is this a dumb thought, but is there I mean, is it worth considering turning right around? Just so they don't get more entrenched into whatever it is they're doing?
How long did it take you guys to get back from Nick and, well, not Nick, Arthur and Yofun and Kat to get back?
We
They
flew, but
Both day?
Yeah, I don't remember. I'd have to look. It was short, like a day, maybe two. Yeah, a day and a half to fly. Yeah, that was on the 12th is when I think Arthur saw that. So like his intel is about 10 days old.
correct.
Oh,
The other thing is we could go all the way down there and they not be there.
Yeah.
Or at least
That-
we
that's-
know
that's
Mountain
why
Tower is
throughout-
still there.
Say again, Bartley.
I said, yeah, and then we just said the Mountain Heart Tower is not going anywhere.
potentially. Check to see if they're still there.
It's not likely that they would have moved out of one hole into another and stay there for a fortnight. I would think at least. Unless they just uproot themselves every 2 weeks to find other amenable caves.
We need to find more zombie
5-day journeys across.
monster things.
I mean, Anna's guess is that at least one of the reasons why they're in that cave is to mine crystals. So,
Could be there for a while.
and if we, and at the very least, you know, that Chaos Legion person from Mountain Heart, who was on his way there to the first one, said he was like 30 days old, which Anna now suspects like he was birthed out of those pods and sent to the cave. So she suspects they'll be there long enough that, I mean, and she also is like, I'm gonna get this tattoo. Like, it will help. So, and I imagine Clavius is pretty insistent too. So that's giving us, it's at least putting 2 days in the hollow. If we want to leave on the third day, she wouldn't put up that big of a fight, but also would be fine with waiting until they were settled, waiting until their stuff was done, packing, and then going, which is what, a week.
Yeah, by the end of this session, you can bet your bottom dollar Clavius will not be moving at 20 feet a second. Or 20 feet every 6 seconds.
We also have our ranger back, so in the event of tracking.
Well, maybe, we don't know.
We go south, it sounds
I mean,
like.
he said he wanted to go south. It's his cousin. Arthur's coming with us. It's fine.
I can
So
see a
he can
world
track
where
it.
it's where Arthur's like, okay, great, y'all go, and I'm scouting for the hollow and, like, you know, being the defender in chief.
Scout and Protector
Yeah, that. Thank you.
is the title. Mr. Scout and Protector.
Mister.
I mean, we could just ask Arthur if he would be accompanying us if we went south to rid the unseen of that cave.
I
See.
There you have it.
I asked that earlier, got nothing, so. That's
Oh,
why
I missed that question too then, when you asked it.
Hey, Michael, while we're talking timing, how long do you think it would take to complete the project you and I talked about earlier?
Like earlier today.
Yeah.
Not long. Like, I mean, it's already kind of been started, right, by Rent.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, for you, probably like a day or so extra.
And if I wanted to try and create a key for the weird sphere box,
you would at least want to put in another day, just to be sure. So that puts Cersei's at about 2 days, which you guys are already at.
Okay.
And didn't you have something too about the golden snitch leg repair?
Wing repair.
That's not even close to what it is. But the thing off the airship.
You're right. There was something else I needed to fix on it.
His wing.
So maybe Cersei's at 3 days. It's hard. You know, he doesn't know exactly how long.
Didn't we get something
we have
that
a
could
wand.
fix it?
We have a wand of mending. Remember?
True. True. I don't know who's got that on their person.
Me.
Then Steven will put this out there. if we are committed to 2 days of downtime for sure, let's start taking that downtime, because Steven wants to research more meta mind flayers, and maybe that gives more sheds more light onto Mountain Heart. Like, if we are for sure committed to 2 days at least, then
spend those 2 days, reconvene and talk again.
Yeah, and it's truly just if, Steven, you learn all this about mind flayers and it turns out to be a puzzle piece that's helpful. I doubt it will be. I think it'll just... But since it sounds like we're committed to 2 days.
Yep. So 2 days.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, and the thing is, if we want to leave after 2 or 3 days and not wait the full week, it seems like we've got maybe 2 to 3 days worth of stuff to do. I'm sure we could leave the gold with Lady Evelina. And she would, make sure it doesn't get pocketed.
She's like,
leave it with Fent.
You can leave it with Fent.
Yeah, what's the government bond situation here?
Well, the 10-year yield is.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I plan on living 10 more years, so... It's about to be a war situation, so you probably do want to start issuing those.
The hollow bonds.
Hollow bonds. Perfect.
That's
So, yeah,
a system
cool.
that D&D doesn't explore enough. I mean, we have we have currency. We've got platinum and gold and shit.
That'll be in the advanced Dungeon Master's Guide.
What about the different value between Vince and
government issued bonds.
Yeah, it's basically the same as Electrum, which is a dumb currency that is not in my game.
Someone buy the Acquisitions Inc. Source material.
Yeah, it probably is in there. To be honest, they have a lot of that stuff. All right, so you want 2 days downtime. It is late evening, so I'm assuming your first day starts in the AM tomorrow.
Yeah.
Obviously, you get a little bonus. You get a little extra for those of you that need time for spells and all that kind of stuff, reading and such. But as far as like completing tasks, getting tattoos, you'll need those 2 full days. So we'll say morning of the 25th is the morning you aim to leave, maybe.
Yep.
All right. So, if anyone hadn't already figured out, probably not doing the tournament tonight, as I'd rather work through some of this. We don't have to get. Let me put this out there. We don't have to get all of your downtime stuff done. If you have like some very particular stuff that you're still working on, I've talked to some of you about some of this. Like even like leveling up, like don't worry about picking all your spells yet. If you want to do that in the next, week or so, that's totally fine. I do want to say, after we're done here tonight, next week, I'd like to keep as let's do the tournament one shot. If you can't make it, if you need to take that as an off day, that's fine, and we'll just play with whoever's here, and we'll do a murder fest, killing each other. We can play as many rounds as we want. It'll be fun. So that gives me even more time to just prep out so that we can kind of go for a longer period, and this also makes this kind of a nice ribbon-tied ending of chapter 1 after tonight. But let's go through some of your guys' downtime stuff. I'm going to be pretty loose with the time right now. Like, it doesn't really matter when you're doing something, but we'll go through each of your characters over the next 2 days or so, 2.5 days, and just kind of talk about the things that you want to accomplish. We might do a couple scenes, we might do a couple like roles if we need roles, or I'll just be like, yep, you can accomplish that, and either I'll charge you now or I'll charge you later, because I don't know gold prices of things. It's not me. So yeah, does that make that work for everyone? If it doesn't, get the fuck out.
The share of the Mountain Heart Gold is 5,000 divided by 7. So 800, something around there.
714.
714.
Nice.
And yeah. And then how much gold you guys gave me for weight is all in the bag of holding. So just add 714 to whatever total you have in the bag of. I'll just do that now. And divvy up the.
Right, so the bag will reflect the amount of gold, including Mountain Heart value after Connorstone.
I've already
Oh,
added
did
mine.
we- You already had yours to Stevens.
Right, well, then you guys can add it all yourselves or whatever you want to do. However you want to do it. That's fine. Just don't do it twice, you cheater.
I can undo it very quickly if that makes your life easier.
No, I'll just skip Steven.
Okay. All right, so let's do some people's downtimes. Because some of it's going to be, like, some of you guys have sent me some stuff, but I still think it's more fun to go over some of that stuff with everyone, too, so everyone can hear kind of some of the things that are happening. Because some of your guys' ideas are very cool, and it's cool to hear some of the stuff that you guys can do. Also, has everyone gotten their die rolls for their health? I know we did some throughout the week. I did some before last session. One with Isabel before. Just want to make sure if anyone needs it, they can ask me to do that on return. But anyone that wants to be like, yeah, I'll go right now. That's cool. Or I can just pick one of you randomly off of the list.
Arthur wants to take Lady Apple to that restaurant too long to try.
Thanks.
Now we definitely can't come south. Got to Holland, baby.
Arthur's busy. Thank you for that.
Arthur's going south.
Damn it. I think that's literally the name of my email thread with Nick about Arthur.
Arthur's Nation South.
Roundabout way of getting there.
Wow. Wow. That's too good. Alright, so we know what Arthur's doing.
Are we gonna get an explicit content rating problem?
Yeah, I'll do what all the popular shows do when that stuff happens. And it fades to black. No one knows what happened. Got foggy. Anybody want to?
I'll go first just because mine's the most bland. I mean, I've been talking about the tattoo. Get that done.
Easy enough.
Then it's taking books back and forth from the books I sent you that I wanted to find out about. And go to the different bridges and read off the bridges just for scenery. And I do want the shield from Runt and the plate mail too that I've been wearing, Sargeran's, to get the little fancy inscription initials.
So, yeah, so she'll need extra time for that, but you can pick that up before you leave. She'll just need extra time. The bridges, I think I talked about the bridges before.
Yeah, I've got a listing of them already.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if I had told everyone or not. I think we talked about it during the Helen Festival, but just as a quick aside, since you brought it up. So each of the bridges is dedicated to one of the pantheon gods. And it kind of, and I think it goes in order of the book because I'm lazy. Like of the guidebook. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. But anyway, so that's what Platus is referencing there, which is cool. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's easy enough. As far as, yeah, the if you wanted to get inscriptions, she didn't know that before, so she'll need like a day or so. But you can, or I don't know, depending on what her workload is, a couple days. But she can do that. And since you've already prepaid for your big money shield, she won't charge you extra for that. Okay, that was pretty easy stuff. The tattoo, feel free to add that and take off the gold cost if you already know it. If I need to look it back up, I can do that. You'll have to spend a day shopping with Saru, obviously.
Partially with Saru. Partially.
Yeah. Partial day shopping with Saru. I might have to find that sheet.
That'd be a good one shot.
It would. I want to say that it's
Moylan
like,
Vanity product.
yeah, that would be good. Or like fanfic.
Only if we get Bartlett in a cat outfit.
Yeah, what do we call the video vanity project?
I mean, there was a production on it.
Will Sheffield Overachiever Award.
That's good. I like that.
Y'all are really going to get the full brunt of that on the rewatch of the video. Although I will say I got a copyright infringement from Mozart himself.
I was going to say, I think the Requiem's probably public domain at this point. I think you're good.
That's what I thought, but YouTube flagged it.
Oh.
Tombstone.
It's probably because, like, oh, that's the London Philharmonic's version.
I think I just found Nick's Greyforge character.
Ooh, I love that. That guy's perfect. Found it. It was in the other spot.
Aristocrat.
Yeah, so tattoos, they're all 24, except Khan is 27.50. There you have it. Unless you're trying to get resistance. That's more expensive. Which I know is not the case.
Preston, how much money would it take for us to pull together to put you in a cat suit and play the panpipes?
You'd have to give me some panpipes.
I was about to say, that can't be too
I got some panpipes.
It's not that big of an ask.
My parents went to, like, the Yucatan or something and brought
I
back.
mean, if Will wants to dress up as Clavius.
I just happen to have these panpipes and this cat suit.
Do you guys not have panpipes?
Yeah, what stores do you have to go to? What's a real life analog of the stores you have to go to? Do we have to go into Jocelyn's Jewelry?
Yeah.
Look for a ring?
Yes.
And K Jewelers.
The mall for sure. Go to Claire's. Get put on a watch list.
You get an earring.
Two grown-ass men, one dressed like cats with like the pipes and scared all the 8th graders away from class.
In the cat ear.
Yeah, walking down the hall playing a pan flute.
Dan Curry's left the convention center.
Oh god.
It won't take long for you to get it. That's good. All right. Well, see what downtime brings us.
Security would just be like, man, the pandemic's really getting at people.
At least they're all vaccinated. It's fine.
At least they're wearing a mask.
Get your cats back vaccinated.
Yeah. Get your cats vaccinated. All right. Before we devolve further, who else? No one else.
I'm just socializing with the town. Probably part-time bookie, the Black Barrel.
I love it.
Urging more drink-a-thons, and then talking to Magic Dwarf about Magic Dwarf stuff.
Yes, I saw your email. I will. I'll get back to you on that. Specifically,
not a big deal.
I do enjoy it. As you're walking around town, this would probably be the day after you helped, or possibly the day that you were took half of the list. and hit some of those jewelers, the many jewelers of Dustfall Hollow. Through, you would have actually encountered something interesting. As you're walking between shops, Saru, you hear a voice call out. Hello, brother. Peace and blessings to you. That kind of catches you off, like maybe someone talking to someone around you. But you kind of look around. You see walking towards you is a dark brown furred tabaxi. Wearing like fairly plain traveler's clothes. It's kind of like got his hand up as he was walking. Paul?
Yeah.
I heard there was a kinsman in the city. I couldn't believe my luck. And he's like now kind of close to you at this point.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't. First of all, do I recognize him?
No, I mean, you don't need to make a check. It doesn't look familiar to you.
Okay.
Just kind of dark.
I was afraid you were dropping something like really big on me for a second. I had stuff prepped for it, so I'm like frantically trying to pull things up.
No, he doesn't look familiar to you. Dark brown fur, and his clothes are like kind of traveler clothes, but they're kind of like they kind of match the general like clothing of like people that you see around here. It's not like flashy. They don't stand out in any way. But yeah, he's you don't recognize him, but he is a tabaxi, which is a sight.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't remember seeing you here. I was here probably about a week ago.
Oh, were you now? No, we must have missed each other. The name's Silent Ascension, and you are?
My name's Saru.
Saru, yes, that's what they said. I heard that you were in the city with the group, the group of adventurers, travelers, whatever they may be. I've not actually been here too long at this point. But the city, yeah, it's quite a nice place, quite a gracious place to live, allowing me a stall. But you travel the world, travel the continent. I see.
I mean, the continent so far, yeah. I mean, I kind of got here and there was some stuff happening, a war going on, and then I got added to a more or less adventure party, just to kind of really determine if the world is, doom and gloom and all that.
It's a bit doom and gloom, that's for sure, around here. What do you do with the group? What's your role?
Moral support.
Moral support. Yes, that's good. Yes, people could use someone chipper around. That's for sure. This, as you said, doom and gloom. Kind of a lot of that around these parts. Now, I have to ask, that there around your neck, and he's kind of pointing to the ocarinas. Do you play?
Play? I basically invented music.
Did you now? I was once a busker back in the day, but some may have even called me a bit of a bard. He's like kind of slyly winking. But to be honest, I seem to have kind of lost the flame in the times after the burning. As you as you kind of led on, doom and gloom kind of dulls the muse. Would there be any chance that you could maybe give me a bit of a reminder of times before?
Yeah, I can totally play something for you real quick. Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it sometime maybe when we have more of an audience?
I'd love to hear it now if you could, and then maybe I could bring my rolling around dog making noises in the background. But maybe from what I hear, I could maybe collect some of my things and meet you somewhere after? Maybe...
Yeah. I mean, I tend to be a bookie down at the Black Boar, or the Black Barrel, if you want to come over there.
And you see him kind of like look around. Yes, yes. And he kind of points in that direction.
Does he point in the right direction?
He does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he like looks around for a second, kind of getting his bearings, but then he does point in the direction of the Black Barrel. But yeah, he basically says like he would love to hear like a sneak preview maybe or something. He's very excited about it.
Yeah, I can definitely do something. Hey, by the way, how'd you get over here? I mean, have you been here long? You mentioned the burning.
Here, specifically, I've been...
The continent, I guess.
Yes, before the burning, I was here when the war began. I was lucky enough to get brought in by the people here in the Hollow. So, it's been over 15, maybe 20 years at this point.
Goodness, yeah, I've only been here for, since right before the burning happened. I ended up in Briarwood, and then all of a sudden, nothing, and the ogre attacked like the one behind you, and
like quickly ducks. But yeah, he says I've been up through Briarwood before. It was before the burning as well, obviously. But yeah, it's a nice place, at least nice enough. Different. Much different than back home.
Yeah, I mean, you find little bits and pieces here and there that kind of remind you of home, but overall, surround yourself with good people and usually good things happen. And if not, you just try to make them happen.
Well, I look forward to coming by later. Maybe meet a few more of your group.
Sure, I imagine a couple will end up being there. There are a couple that like to
Do any of them play as
enjoy a
well?
beverage. They try.
I see. I hope you don't say that about me when I come by later.
Well, no, I mean, we'll have to see. I'm sure you're fine. I mean, they're kind of new to it. I've kind of forced it on them, but you know what? They seem to be happy when they did it. Or drunk, or both.
It helps.
Doesn't help the rhythm.
Well, it helps everyone else when everyone else is drunk, though.
That is true.
But please, if you just maybe just a small preview.
Yeah, sure. I'll pull out the whale one.
Yes. So, sort of kind of as you're like, just fucking murdering that tune, really you should talk to Will and have, you should do Will's music for his next movie. It'll be perfect. But you see him kind of like just watch you, and he's just like, kind of like entranced almost. And when you finish, there is a power to your music. Great power. You yourself are the instrument. Your music will serve you and serve others well in these dark times, friend. And then he kind of starts like looking up, almost looking like past you, almost as if like you were still like listening, just kind of like lost in thought. I've seen things one can't unsee, and heard things, terrifying, powerful things. And his head kind of tilts upwards slightly, almost as if something in the distance caught his eye. And as you kind of like glance back, you kind of realize that it's not something tangible, but more like he's watching something in a memory, like something before his eyes. And he lowers his voice, speaking a little more softly. You almost have to like lean in to hear his song, so powerful, so moving. Gently moves the heartstrings, like a single strand of a spiderweb that has had one end break free. It is now undulating in the breeze. The dance macabre, the requiem that is death. The power to be the master of what others fear most. Only a true maestro may be the vessel for such a movement. What a magnum opus this would be for whoever is brave enough to arrange it. As he's kind of like staring, he like kind of shakes his head and blinks. I'm sorry. I got lost there for a moment. I'm glad. Sorry. I'm glad you were willing to play for me.
Of course. I mean, music's kind of the thing, and honestly, your little speech there got me thinking. An old friend of mine, you would have really enjoyed. He was the writer, I guess, of our music. I could play it really well, but he always had a way of finding notes and tunes that I couldn't.
And you said is he back in Critique?
I'm not sure where he is, honestly. We kind of lost each other a long time ago, and I haven't seen him for a while. I mean, I'm sure he's out there somewhere, but kind of one of those things where you just lose each other, I guess, in a way.
Sure. Well, I hope you're able to find him again someday, friend.
Yeah, me too.
And so you really, it would be fine if I came by and maybe we played something.
I don't see why not.
And you're staying there? You'll be there tonight?
Uh-huh.
And you always play the ocarina then, or you mix it up?
It's usually if it's not the ocarina, it's a little pan flute that I've got, but the ocarinas are kind of the bread and butter, if you will.
Strings then. I'll find some strings. And I'll meet you back that way. Sometime tonight.
It's quite alright, yeah. I've got a couple other things to grab for a friend of mine, and then I'll probably be there most of the afternoon and evening.
Sounds good, friend. Very good. And he, like, his mood kind of, like, he seems a little more chipper. And he'll start to kind of head off. And after some stringed instruments, it appears. As you move on to do your, well, not your shopping, but the rest of Flavius' shopping.
Slight delay, sorry.
And then, Saru, is there anything else that you had that you wanted to accomplish over downtime?
I don't think so. No, there wasn't
Flavius' stuff.
Ton of there really wasn't a lot on my menu coming back here, so just kind of waiting it out and passing time.
Yeah, the dwarf stuff I'll hit you with.
Yeah, like I said, it's not gonna change anything.
We'll have 2 weeks.
Probably.
Alright. So who's next?
You can go.
Steve-O?
Yep.
Alright, what you
Either
got?
after they're orientation video, just didn't get a chance to talk to Udo and the dwarves?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah. Once they're done, sometime that evening, Lady Evelina will mention she's housing them somewhere near the Hollow Manor, just to kind of like give them a spot to kind of work out from. But and also it's not in the city as of yet. But yeah, and they're free to move through the city as they please. But yeah, you're able to talk with them.
Stephen will approach Udo and see if he is wanting to. Oh gosh, all I see is ultrapet.com.
Perfect.
On that one.
That's very good.
That's amazing.
It's full of diamond dust or whatever.
Yeah.
Gem dust.
Stephen will see if he's down to trade some spells.
Yeah, so he is, and if you kind of explain the situation, and after they've kind of spoken with Anna, they know you're there for a few days. So obviously he would need time with your spell book for some, and you would time for his. So depending on like how long you need and all that stuff. He's interested in the water breathing. I don't remember what else, but.
I don't think he had to spell magic, dude.
I'm not sure.
No, he doesn't.
Udo does not have to spell.
I have something in the bag of holding.
Oh, he does. He has to spell magic.
He does? Oh, maybe I just didn't copy it down because I already had that spell. What did you say, Connor?
I have something that says spell book in Dwarven on the bag of holding. Do you know?
It's in Steven's bag.
Cool, as long as you know what they are.
Yep, it's the spell book we found in the dragon lair. That
That's what I. Okay, well, I'll take it off, and then if I need to know what spells are available, I can pause it.
Cool. So how will this work, Michael? He's gonna lose access to his spell book while I copy one, then I would lose access to mine while he copies one.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like when he copies a spell, that's just going to eat into your time because you won't have your spell book.
Yep. Which that's not a problem because. So I would ask if I could have it for 12 hours, and then he could have mine for the next day to
do whatever.
Because then I'll use that time to be reading the Tome of Aberrations and such.
Dope. Yeah, I mean, you can take it for the day. It's fine.
Cool. All right, then I'm going to spend.
He'll obviously like hang out with you while you're doing it. While you're reading and stuff. You can worry about the gold cost and stuff.
Well, I don't have a gold cost, remember, because I already have the pages. Isn't that what that is?
If you have the stuff that you got, like the you should have a dollar amount of parchment / inks, and you burn through those. They're not like.
I know. At some point I picked up some of those, and so that's what I can still kill that dollar amount and have gold.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so you buy parchment and you can then use that amount on gold pieces, like of gold pieces. But once you burn through that parchment, then you have to buy more. So it's like that whatever dollar amount you spent on the parchment, that's the amount of spell amount that you can spend, basically.
Got it. Okay.
So like if you spent 300 on, parchment and inks, then you have $300 worth of parchment and inks of spells that you can transfer.
Then for the moment, I'm gonna do 3 spells, and I take that back. I'm gonna do 4 spells just since I'm doing it. 3 from his book and then 1 just from the Dwarven book. And then I'm going to spend, so that's 16 hours. Then I'm going to spend the next 24 hours going through the Tome of Aberrations to see if I can find anything on Mind Flayers or the Book of Demons. Both books I'll be perusing.
Roll investigation with advantage. With that much time.
Oh, that sucks.
So over your time kind of focusing on this book, you are able to pull some passages that you find interesting. It doesn't seem to have a ton of information, but it does have some in these books. You also... okay, so these are the few passages that you find interesting and kind of note. Few creatures inspire as much terror in me than those I learned of during my travels in the Astral Sea, as the Illithid. The Illithid are better known by their common name of Mind Flayers, and it is an apt title. These creatures can psychically peel back a target's personality the way a surgeon draws back swollen flesh, as tentacles slick with slime ride across ravaged edges of bone and caress gray, glistening coils of brain matter, before drawing them from the conscious, usually screaming prey. These Illithid are human in shape, with pale mauve flesh covered in a slick slime-like mucus, with an octopus-like ridged head with 4 tentacles surrounding a lamprey-like mouth. As previously mentioned, their reputation is based on their appetite and likely need for living brains as sustenance. All mature Illithid are psionically gifted, similar to many races of the Astral Sea and Far Realm, making them a frightful opponent for arcane practitioners such as myself. Luckily, I've not encountered them directly in my travels. Illithid are known as tyrants and slavers. Many spoke of them as harvesters of worlds, or an infectious plague. In my admittedly shallow depth of experience, Mind Flayer colonies are thought to operate as a single hive mind, with control centralized by a singular creature known as the Elder, if my translations are correct, of course. This Elder entity exerts telepathic control simultaneously over all Mind Flayers within the colony's outer limits, possibly more or less depending on the plane of existence from where they are operating. You get the sense that, finding these passages throughout the book, that this particular book is much more broad and like covers a lot of different aberrant things, and I think you spent like upwards of 20 hours plus the time before on your travels reading it, so you're over 24 hours reading it, which gives you, while you have a book in your possession, a +3 bonus on, I think, Arcana checks when dealing with aberrations. So you also get that benefit as well. So you might want to note that you have that. But that's kind of what you get reading this book on Mind Flayer specifically, and then the +3 on aberrations. I think we can make a skill macro too.
Okay, that'd be good. Is there a biography page of who the author is of this book, out of curiosity?
It appears the author is it is multiple authors. That call themselves the Circle.
Okay. And I think, just to meta-wise, because I think Clavius already asked this question, Estwin doesn't have any books in his library that we thought would be relevant, because that's why Estwin suggested going to Paragus, because he thought there were books there. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, he's after any and every books that you guys can find. He mentioned Paragus before you guys, I think, even before he knew you guys had gone there. And yeah, he's just, trying to collect more books. He doesn't have a ton. I don't think you knew much about looking into mind flayers at the time that you talked to him, but
okay.
Spoiler alert, he doesn't really have anything of that nature.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
He would obviously say maybe Paragus, but as well, like, Kestrel is, a big ass known library in the region.
Gotcha.
And he would die to get his hands on anything.
Okay. All right, then the final thing Stephen would do with his downtime is go. I mean, I'm sure he would be watching, Clavius or Anna get their tattoo and ask Ardvost if he has any new potions that he could possibly purchase.
I will make a note of it and look into what his stock is. Because I'm not 100% sure what he has. But I can give you a list over the next 2 weeks. Potions for Stephen. He would have at least something new by that time. I think he would. I know he at least has another potion of heroism, as Anna kind of asked for that last time. So he'll definitely have at least one of those. But I'll have to roll on and see what he's got in his shop.
Yeah, let me know. Stephen would be looking for flying or invisibility.
Cool. He'll also, he would, I'll check, obviously, just to see what exactly he has, but if he doesn't, and you mentioned you want those things, he could give you a timeline for how long this would take.
Okay. Yeah, just let me know what those potions are, and yeah.
Cool.
I'll let other people. So we can roleplay it or meta-wise. Stephen, when finally finding the information on the Mind Flayer in the book, would share it with the group. I don't know if we want to roleplay that or let other people just do their downtime, and we can do it when we pick back up.
Yeah, let's either do it when we pick back up, or possibly we can talk about it in the interim, if that makes any changes or whatever. But I can also give you guys the actual text, so you don't have to just listen to me say it on YouTube or whatever.
That'd be great.
Of what was in that book specifically.
Cool.
Dope.
I've got to step off, y'all. Michael, I made you the host on Zoom, so.
Oh, okay.
Should be good. Have a good one, everyone.
See ya.
Peace.
At birth. Oh, he gone. He gone. Who else got some stuff?
Anna can go next. She wants a tattoo. She's gonna get the con tattoo.
Dope.
So I will subtract that huge chunk of gold.
Big old boy, 2750. And you guys can, tell everyone when you've decided what your tattoos look like. Because it's mostly up to you. Obviously, it's going to be the color of those things. and they do have like semi-specific placements and stuff, but it's also like character choice. If you already know, that's cool. If you don't, the world is your oyster.
I mean, I was looking at what the what do you call that? The Critical Role tattoos look like, and that looks pretty good. I mean, that's obviously what it's based off of too. So, I was looking at the Critical Role Constitution tattoo, so I'm fine with that being the.
It is pretty dope.
And then, so that'll be one day. And the next day, Anna is going to go and cast a ritual that she's been sort of waiting to cast until they got back. Because she needs to like wrangle down some supplies that she assumes a brass brazier, which I don't think I had on me. I probably need to wrangle that down from somebody, either Steven or
sure you can find some.
The dragon. And she will cast Find Familiar.
Oh shit.
And so we talked about this a while, Michael, but
yeah,
you know, a lot of stuff is but I sent you a picture of an owl.
Yes. Yes, you did. I don't know if I have it.
That's fine. The owl's name is Runes, spelled like Anna's grandfather's name.
Making a note to make token.
So Arthur won't be the only person around with familiar. So, but you can just stick Lunes on Anna's rolls.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do it at that point. With that many. Awesome. Awesome. Was there anything else from you?
No, I think getting a tattoo and then getting her familiar, and she'll probably spend the day like kind of just like figuring out what she can do with it, because she can like communicate with it telepathically. She can warg. I think she'd be pretty interested in like kind of like messing around with like letting the owl fly 100 feet away and then like looking through the owl's eyes and hearing through the owls and doing different things like that. So she'll probably be like messing around, and so she'd also probably go down to the Black Barrel and shoot the shit with anybody who wants to. Hopefully my word is better. Yeah, hopefully. I would say I think it'll probably be less plot relevant than Brands, which will help. You know.
I've predicted that you would make this choice for a very long time. You're blood hunter turned wizard.
Yes.
I knew you would get Find Familiar from the beginning.
Yep. So she'll probably just be like, yeah. On day 2, she'll cast the owl. She'll mess around with the owl for like a while and sort of get used to her new abilities, and then we'll probably go hang out with anybody who wants to throw some spirits back.
Speaking of throwing spirits back, Isabel.
Weird.
It was like the perfect transition. What was I supposed to do?
Ironically, Isabel isn't spending that much time at Chandru's. She has a lot to do.
Big list.
Some shopping, which don't really need to go over, just some gear and potion making stuff.
Yes.
Go visit Hardpost at some point, ask if she could use some of his equipment while new place is getting set up, and purchase equipment of her own.
Absolutely.
We get sent there. It's finished. That's it for shopping. Then, fortunately, Marshall already left.
Lost your wizard.
Lost my wizard.
Well, I got Anna.
Does Anna
Has
know?
identify.
Does Anna have identify?
I don't know. Maybe.
Anna has detect magic, but I didn't take identify. Because what are you trying to identify?
Some potion stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna have to roll it up with Steven.
Yeah. We can do that with Steven later.
Yeah.
Croft, I can help you with that.
That's true.
You can?
I can.
Can I identify stuff? Alright.
Done.
Would Isabel know that?
Nope.
Probably not.
Yeah, if not there, if Saru would bump into you, or if you would bump into Saru.
I don't think Isabel knows that anybody else would know how to do it other than Steven.
No. I'm just saying, if you were to bump into Saru and Saru would be like, wow, she looks really puzzled.
Nate, you take that wizard dip?
Wizard dip? A wizard dip?
Or just give any options. Or you could be secluded in a dark corner somewhere.
Listen, we're gonna get to my person when everyone is, when we're ready.
Ready.
A whiz dip?
Speaking of Xerxes, Isabel would actually seek Xerxes out, not for those reasons.
Not for his whiz dip?
Not for his whiz biz. But she actually comes to you with an idea about something when you have spare time to work on. She tells you about this poison that she's been making, mostly non-lethal, and has been able to turn it into a gaseous form, or would be able to, and is wondering if you could construct some sort of, like, she witnessed your flashbangs, and she's wondering if you could make a grenade that could house this sort of thing and use it as part of your arsenal.
He's super intrigued. Do you need like if he gave you some flashbangs without the powder inside them? Could you try and put them together, or do you need me to do you want to give me the poison and I can try to put them together?
Yeah, and she can like help you oversee so you don't accidentally
myself
release the poison. Yeah.
Do a huff.
But like, she's like, I can make the reagent, I can make the poison. Anything beyond that, she doesn't know what to do.
All right.
All right. Weaponize some gaseous poison. I love it.
So is this like a knockout gas? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, it's basically can be a knockout gas. I'll link the poison in the chat.
Poison in the chat.
Poison in the chat.
Brr, brr, brr.
That was good.
Oops. Yeah. I was working on stuff earlier and I didn't want to accidentally set up the chat, so
I feel that.
I switched it. There we go.
There she goes.
So, from the nightshade flowers in the troll cave. Ignore the injury part.
Yeah, so that's the liquid version. So she's essentially trying to make it gaseous and then make it possibly like thrown or whatever.
Yeah.
Awesome. We can go through the tinker process, figure out
future
strength,
options for that.
etc. Yeah.
Love it.
Figured, if we're going up against a lot of people, could help with crowd control.
100%. He's super excited. Can't wait.
I'm making a note to figure that out for next time. X and is potion bomb. Great.
Otherwise, she has a few other things she just works on privately.
Yeah, that's fine. We can
I think that's it.
We can do the IDing stuff later.
Yeah.
At a later date or through email or whatever. It's fine. At some point over those 2 days, possibly while you were at Ardboast as well, and Anna was that way too. Well, you know, Colt was doing the tattoo, but sometime after you both were maybe headed back, walking back to the Hollow one evening, a dwarf, not one of the ones, not one you recognize, I should say, will approach Anna and Isabel. He wears dark clothes, similarly colored to those that the Candles wear when they're on duty. The Candles are the guards of the Hollow, kind of beneath their armor. This dwarf, however, is not wearing any armor. He's not geared up, though as he's kind of walking towards you, it's very easy for you to imagine that he would feel, you know, more at home if he were wearing some like heavy plate. Just kind of by the way he walks, he seems like he would be a bit more at home, like on a battlefield. And he kind of walks up to the both of you.
Excuse me, the lady would have an immediate meeting with you, the two of you, if you have a moment. She requested to speak with Anna and Isabel specifically, and I believe that's the two of you. We may have been able to obtain some information that you might be interested in about those wearing the black armor.
Kind of lowers his voice, kind of looking around just to make sure no one's like super close nearby.
Thought it might be best to inform you quickly, quietly.
Anna will nod and go on.
Isabel follows.
And as you start walking, he's kind of leading you down to the Stonewater district. Kind of starts like idly chatting.
I hope you don't find it too intrusive, but word's starting to get out around, my group. Sorry, I've lost my place in my notes. Sorry, word's starting to get around in my group that the two of you might be most interested in this information about those in black armor. Well, we've heard that there might be three of you that are more interested, but hope you understand we might find that information may best reach the third's ears through the two of you, through your mouths rather than mine, the ladies.
And he's leading you down into the Stonewater district, and then he kind of brings you, it's here-ish, this building here, which is near the Hollow Manor. The Hollow Manor kind of, it's not exactly like it is on here. It does connect to this pillar, so there's a good chance that this is actually could be connected to it, though not the usual kind of big meeting room that you go into, but it's also kind of later in the evening. And so he'll walk in into this building. As he does, he leads you into the building that you have not been in this door before, and you go down through this long hall, and then eventually to this kind of sparse room. It's a lot more casual than the normal meeting room that has the large table and all the banners hanging. It just seems like I said, casual. There's a table, there's some chairs, there's seats for four in this smaller room, and there's the door that you came in that leads to the long hallway, and then there's this kind of door across. And he, as you walk into the room, he like motions that you guys can take a seat at the table. There are a few cups and some water, nothing fancy. And then he kind of walks to the back door and like leans on it and then like gently knocks on that door, and then slowly cracks it open. And then like promptly shuts it and turns and looks at you.
It looks as though it'll be at least a few more minutes. She's still finishing up with another conversation, but she should be right out.
And then he just kind of stands there, kind of upright and orderly, beside the door. Much like a guardsman would stand, I guess. Next to the door, just kind of waiting. And then after a few moments, just kind of clears his throat a little bit.
Seeing as we might have a few moments, if you don't mind it, I'd just like to say that the victories you have achieved so far are already becoming legend here. And now it seems you may be fighting two foes united for a common cause. Although after hearing about your group's skill in battle, I don't doubt for a moment you can continue to find a path to victory.
He like kind of nods admirably to them.
You know, here in the Hollow, it's a rough life. We have done what we had to just to eke out survival. I may be so bold, we wouldn't be here today if we hadn't made difficult choices. You understand, when facing a threat that endangers your life, sometimes you can't afford the luxury of ethics.
And he turns his gaze more directly towards Anna.
Now, I've heard rumors of your unique skills. You use pain to make you stronger. But the enemy uses death itself. The grave is a bastion of strength. Tomb is a pillar of power. The looming shadow of the Reaper is making them strong. You may need to take another step to match their strength. And you,
he looks over towards Isabel.
You bring light. You bring life. But you also know the magnitude of the power of darkness, of death. They are using it as a means to an end. I'd advise that you understand that power more completely. Take the draft and drink deep. What is bitter to consume may very well provide you the knowledge of how to win this war.
Then he's starting to take a breath and he starts to open his mouth again, but is interrupted by a muffled voice from the other room. Have they arrived? And he cracks the door open.
Aye, my lady. Yes, sir. We're here.
I'll be right with them. He turns back to the both of you and kind of nods, obviously having heard, not necessarily needing to relay the message to you. And then he steps into that back room and shuts the door, leaving you alone for a moment as you await the lady to come out.
I'll glance at Isabel and be like, opinionated for a guardsman.
It's a bit odd. How did he know all that?
I'd suspect he is, at the very least, a confidant or able to hear Lady Evelina's conversations.
What are your... Oh, sorry. Go.
Sarani, when she was particularly paranoid, could hide a blade singer in the blade singer and trading amongst the normal guardsmen just to heal. Sometimes the people forget that they're
we didn't. There's just things I didn't think we spoke much about with Lady Evelina before that he just talked about. That's all.
I wonder what she can see and how much she has us tracked while we're here. Trust yet verified.
What are your passives?
13?
Yeah, I think that's mine too. Maybe 14. I definitely do not have my, I have
your potion active.
I don't have any potions active. I've tried to give my body a couple days off.
So like just barely audible actually to both of you.
That can't be right. Something's wrong with my passive wisdom, so it says it's a 20.
It's like 10 plus your perception. It's whatever it is.
Okay,
So unless your
10.
perception's a 10.
It is 13. What?
Yeah, so actually 13 is enough. But you hear kind of softly through the door the lady's voice, and you kind of feel like you're hearing maybe one side of the conversation with that. I might know who. Oh, okay. I will postpone telling you. And it's muffled, hard to hear. You're waiting there the first maybe 5 more minutes. And 5 kind of turns to 10. 10 to 15. Just kind of waiting in this room. 15 turn to 20. To 25. Don't
I
hear
mean, I think
anything
after,
from beyond.
yeah, I think Anna after about 15 would knock on the door.
Yeah, so Anna, you stand up, knock at the wooden door, wait, a few moments, just kind of giving the benefit, but you don't, there's no answer at the door. You don't hear any sounds.
Can I try to open it?
Yep.
Is it open?
It does. And as you enter, open the door and peer into the room, you find just what appears to be a small storage room. Not much larger than 12 by 12. There are a few stacks of boxes in one corner with some dust kind of covering the boxes, and you can see there's some parchment kind of like strewn around, blank, just kind of looks like pushed aside. Yeah, the room has kind of a stale smell about it. There's no windows, doors, except for the one that you just opened.
Isabel's gonna go try the door we came in from.
It opens.
Okay.
There's a long hallway that you just kind of walk through.
Nobody in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Close the door again.
Anna will start to like step into that room, and she's kind of got like it still feels like she's walking into a closet. She'll kind of like poke around and look for like where like another door. Or...
Yeah, you can roll an investigation check.
Is it dark in there?
Fairly, yeah. I mean, it's dark. There looks like there was a candle, like kind of, but it's not burning anymore.
Isabel would turn on the light. So they can see the room better.
Lantern illuminates the room clearly. Yeah, as you're looking around, Anna, like kind of feeling around, there doesn't seem to be any like secret passages or anything like that. It 4 walls with the one door.
Okay. Did that voice that we heard sound like the lady?
Yeah, did. You can make a what do we call it? Insight? Maybe insight?
Okay. I haven't seen it.
22. Yeah. It sounded like the lady.
Isabel's gonna wait. So she's gonna ask Anna. So just to confirm, there's nothing in there, right? No doors.
I mean,
Nobody?
maybe you can have a better search than I can, but I assume that works somehow.
Yeah, you guys can take more time if you want. Spend some time looking. Take 20.
Isabel's actually gonna cast a spell. She's gonna cast Sending, targeting the lady.
Okay.
Just simply say, we were told you wanted to speak with us. We're waiting in East Side Room near the manor. Are you going to come at any time?
You wait for a moment. Isabel. I'm sorry, I haven't arranged any meeting. Which room are you in? I can come if you need me.
She tries her best. Wait, no, never mind. I have to cast that again. Oh no, we should leave. The lady then set up a meeting. She didn't call us here.
Anna will nod. She'll duck out with Isabel. She'd want to go talk to the lady to confirm her story, and then kind of try to do it like insight.
Yeah, and as you head towards the manor, you'll actually see her kind of coming outside with some guards. And when she sees you and Isabel turn the corner, she looks kind of confused as she sees you and asks Isabel, "What's going on, Isabel? Did you need something? I was confused by the way you asked."
One of your, it looked to be one of your guardsmen, said you want to speak with us about the black armor. And he guided us to, and she'll point to the whatever direction or building that they just came out of. We were waiting there for a time.
I have not asked anyone to call you. I'll speak with you. 11. No, that building there is under construction is the best way we can put it. It's out of commission for the moment. Who was this? What did he look like?
Isabel does her best to describe him. A dwarf. And I don't remember the specific looks beyond that.
She'll you were with him for a time. I don't seem to recognize him right off, but I'll ask the scouts to go through and find out. I don't understand. Why would someone try and set up a meeting with you or...
And one more thing. When he brought us in that room, he said you were the room next over, which to just be a storage room. But we heard your voice come from the other side.
She looks like a little bit shaken. My voice.
What exactly do you need?
We heard you say something.
I've been here.
We heard you say, or what sounded like you say something to the effect of, they might know him. We will wait to tell them. And then nothing.
At that point, she kind of turns and sends, tries to gather some of the guard and kind of sending them off to investigate that building more thoroughly.
And I will turn to Isabel and be like, can you check in on Stephen?
Yeah, I can. So send a sunbeam to Stephen. Just asking if he's all right. If anybody strange has approached him.
He'll likely respond that he's in the, either in the Black Barrel, reading, more than likely. He's been here all day. And then he'll comment on the fact that you're talking in his head.
Things Marshall will learn later.
Yeah.
He seems to be fine for the moment.
I'll let out a pretty big exhale when Stephen responds and says he's fine. And then she'll turn to Lady and say, if you are able to track down a dwarf that fits that description, please let us know.
Yeah, she will say that she'll track down all the dwarves that are within the candles or the scouts, and to kind of go through this and figure out what the heck was going on. Yeah, that's true. That would have been super cold-blooded.
As they're like leaving the scenario and going to where they were going to go, on all this from Isabel would be like, do you have any theories? That man knew a lot about us, wanted to communicate to us, and wanted to push us to do whatever it took in a way that, I don't know. It almost reminds me of those letters we got. Information people shouldn't have known. Knew it would get our attention. Just kind of like shiver and be like, I felt very safe here. And now I feel positively unsettled.
Yeah, it's all. We should gather people. What's up? What is up? And maybe it's time we solve that better. Issue.
So we'll put it on the talk about list when we reconvene after a couple days to share with everybody what the hell happened, assuming we don't get any more information.
I'm prepared. I have the necessary spell prepared to make sure we get every truth we need.
I'll nod. Ugh. Gross. I was ready for some information about the unseen, Michael. Not like
I was creeped out from like the moment he started saying stuff. I'm like, that stuff, like, only if they were with us, they would have known.
Yeah, only if they like listened to our private conversation and read our emails. Gross.
Yeah. which, Michael does. Yeah, that was very creepy.
Yeah, who's gonna sleep tonight? Not me.
You did. I'm so sorry. I was like making jokes that whole time.
Oh no, we heard that.
Nate's on
It's not
fire.
funny.
Oh, thanks, dog. All right, so that I was writing. Weird encounter and letter talk is on the agenda. We'll say that would happen like kind of the during the second day, basically, of your downtime. So it's possible you can have that either powwow in the morning the next day or that night if you can get everybody together in that evening.
Clay just probably laying flat on his back, recovering from a full body, from a
Yeah.
night out. So we can do the morning.
Yeah. Perfect. And so yeah, that's probably what we're picking up. But Xerxes, we have some stuff from you, and then of course I have a little wrap up for the chapter. But
All right.
Xerxes.
I'm very excited to hear about
X-Factor.
Xerxes via YouTube. Talk to you guys later.
Peace.
The
baby man had
to run and
do a baby thing.
take care of the baby. That's how it rolls. So Xerxes will go to run shop,
Hells yeah.
as he is wont to do.
I would assume this would probably be super early, like almost first thing on the agenda.
First thing on the agenda.
As you walk through the door, of front shop, the first thing you see is her standing near the forge, and it's probably late, whatever, I don't know, I don't have the day, probably, the 22nd, so it's late evening at this point. And she is standing near the forge. The room is super heated, and she just clenches this like piece of white hot sword in the pool, and steam just fills the air as the metal hisses loudly. And she kind of raises her hand upon seeing you and begins to welcome you to the shop. When she's interrupted by a booming voice. Xerxes, one you've heard before.
You have been chosen for a reason. Some of you for what you have done thus far. Use all the tools at your disposal.
As this booming voice echoes through the shop, Grunt nearly drops the tongs and kind of like looks over like at you and like into the room.
What in the bloody hell was that all about? You trying to scare me half to death? Trying to play some trick on me? What the fuck are you playing at?
Xerxes, and she like looks legitimately like shook.
I nearly dropped the sword. I've been working half a day on this.
And she's like looking at you confused as hell.
Did that voice come from me?
It just like echoed around the room as soon as you come in, and it absolutely sounded like the Lord of Briarwood.
Well, I'm sorry, Runt. I don't even know where that came from. Did that come from my direction, or
Feel free to roll a perception check. And she too is kind of like now looking around the room. It's hard to tell in this small area just because of the echoing, but like there is an area on the side where there's these two kind of long windows that meet in the corner, and like the forge is on the other side of the room, and that's kind of like where more of where she like keeps her shit is more on this side. But it sounded more like it came from that side with like where the windows are, than like didn't necessarily come directly out of you. You're sure of that.
can I do an investigation from the windows to the wall?
Yeah, till the sweat drops down and your hand falls. That's the edit, radio edit. Yeah, so as you're kind of like digging through, I mean, all this stuff is over there. And, you know, you're digging through this area, looking through some of her stuff, and she's kind of starting to help you, like, what in the fuck? And nothing seems out of place. And then behind kind of, or near, I guess, where, like, she keeps, like, most of her unworked ore, there's the ingots nearby, you know, all the random shit that you need in a forge or whatever. There is this cloth draped over like a shape, and she kind of looks at it like weirdly. Do you think it could have been that? That's that armor that you brought in. I kind of kept the cloth over it to not scare the patrons. And she's talking about the abyssal armor. That's the really, she points out that's the only thing that's kind of quote unquote out of place.
Well, it certainly could be possible, although it hasn't made any sound since we left it.
No, it's been absolutely quiet, tucked in. That was weird, Xerxes.
Unfortunately, weird things tend to follow me.
Well, could you warn me next time?
I can make no promises, friend.
She definitely seems thoroughly weirded out, but is able to kind of laugh at the joke and shake it off a bit, as much as you are, you know, and oh, all right. What can I do you for?
Have you managed to make any progress on the plans that I left you?
Yes, and she will pull out kind of the prototype that you found. And you get to describe it, because it's your deal. Oh my.
So what she pulls out is basically a silver kind of almost chrome looking prosthetic arm, and it has, you can tell, joints and everything where the fingers are, and in the very palm of it, it has a ruby in it as well. And he's kind of looking over it and kind of marveling at how well Runt was able to recreate kind of his initial designs, because he was, you know, Runt's got great skill, but this was a really tough ask.
Pretty weird ask.
And pretty weird. So he's thoroughly impressed, for sure.
She doesn't understand the ruby thing. She's like, that doesn't help any. This is an art piece.
Right. Right. So he'll thank Runt, and he'll actually pay Runt for her, you know, exquisite work. I don't know technically how much gold I have to my name.
It's not a big deal.
So we can figure that out later, but he does want to pay her for the work. And he's going to take it aside and work on it himself for this day. And while he's doing that, he's going to show Runt the sphere and the box and kind of give an explanation of what has transpired up there on the mountain. And he's going to show her that the box once had a key, and ask if she might be able to forge something that could fit in there.
Yeah, she definitely has ideas on how you could go about doing that, you know, like filling it and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, she thinks that's plausible. For sure. Just take time, obviously, as always. Everything takes downtime, is what I like to say.
It all takes downtime. So he's going to work on the arm for, you know, the benefit of the better part of the whole day.
Yeah.
Working kind of into the wee hours of the night, as is what happens when he's really focused on something. And he's going to ask Sarah to come by the shop in the morning with him.
Awesome. Yeah, she will absolutely. She doesn't have anything on her downtime list as of yet.
Yeah, we need the Sarah and Colt downtime stories as well.
Yeah, well, Colt's been tattooing nonstop, so that's what he's been doing.
Poor guy. With Runt there, probably still working on, you know, what we've been talking about. He's going to tell Sarah to attempt to put, you know, he's going to show her and try and help her put it on and how it all kind of works, just with the leather straps and all of that. And he's going to tell her to take a deep breath and attempt to focus on moving the fingers of the prosthetic arm.
So at first you see her kind of like looking down and breathing deep, focusing, and she seems a bit frustrated. Kind of looks up to you and looks a little defeated. And then she kind of refocuses her efforts again and looks down, and you actually see a twitch in one of the fingers. Just and then slowly she starts to gain a little more movement, and it's slow, but it's somewhat controlled, and like this massive grin kind of comes over her face, and she's just like in awe over this thing, like totally shocked. I can't believe you've done this for me. I only hope that I'll be able to add more firepower to your party. But no, she is like super excited and like super thankful. I never.
What's Runt's reaction?
Yeah, Runt is beside herself at seeing it like moving and working, and at some point she would come and mention to you like, "You're gonna have to teach me how to do something like that." And like she just doesn't, you know, doesn't comprehend really magic in any way, shape, or form. She's
right.
An exquisite smith and very good at the details and all that stuff, but magic is not anything that she understands. So this is totally new for her. And you presume the party will be a bit like, you have some stuff, but this is something else. This is different for when they see Sarah with an arm.
Xerxes is kind of like smiling to himself, quite proud, and he would tell Runt that, you know, it does take many years to learn how to weave magic and machinery together. but with enough, time and practice, it's possible to do amazing things.
Maybe I'll just I'll stick to making them, and you stick to putting the magic in them, or whatever.
Or whatever, indeed.
We could become very, very rich.
He also tells Sarah to be very careful while she is learning how to control her arm, and to not focus on the word fire.
She definitely seems a bit worried, but is looking forward to her future lessons on learning how to fully use this thing. Wink.
Wink.
Hell yeah. Awesome. So awesome. Alright, is there anything else for Xerxes? And you can always add stuff to it.
Yeah, so on the second day, it's going to be more focused on just the, after all that kind of goes down, it's just focusing on the sphere. He will try and use the healing wand to fix the broken wing of the sphere.
Okay. I'm going to add that to my notes, and we can do some of that through email.
Sure.
That work?
Yep.
Awesome. Valen and Arthur, do you have anything specific that you guys want to get done? Nope. Well, shit. If you think of something,
basic.
If you think of something, obviously let me know. But buying things or anything like that. So I have a big list for things that we're either going over start of next time or between then. And like I said, since we're basically going to take 2 weeks off, but next week play some tournament, play some get some combat in, and get to be crazy and weird. There is one final scene, if everyone is good and done with downtime for the time being. On the and I'd like to say thanks for those of you that are sticking it out. You know, birthdays and babies are pretty good. Good reasons to get called away, but happy you're here for the finale. But this would occur on that final evening that you guys are recovering and then planning to do your the talk. What I wrote it down, what I called it, in the morning or later that evening. But from the Black Barrel, Chaudhry would kind of find a moment where he sees kind of Anna off to the side, and maybe you would just come back from somewhere or you were gathering people, but he'll kind of pull her aside and say, Anna, had Clavius gotten a hold of you yet? She'll respond something along the lines of no. She died. Should have mentioned it earlier. He was looking for you a little while ago, wanted to have a word with you. It sounded important. He was headed outside, said something about Botilla. Maybe try a shrine or something. And as I mentioned earlier, the bridges are all kind of named for the gods, and Botilla's bridge is actually pretty near the Black Barrel, right here. It's later in the evening, but not late, not too late. And there aren't really as many people moving about the city at this point. There's some coming and going from bars and, staying out late. Xerxes is probably at runs at this point still. But the city is always the same amount of dark. The bioluminescent lights amongst the upper section of the pillars, still like illuminating the space, same as it
Question,
always
Michael.
does. Yeah, you're good.
Is this before or after our little weird run-in with the dwarf?
Yeah, this would be probably after.
Could Isabel follow Anna?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Isabel, you see kind of Chaudhry talk to Anna and start kind of following her out. And you two look over at the same time and making your way towards the bridge of Botilla here. Again. Where you see Clavius kind of standing halfway-ish down, maybe a bit closer to one side than the other. And he's just kind of walking there, seeming to be looking like about at the bridge. And as you kind of get to the bridge, looking at the carvings on this one, it's kind of carved with plentiful amounts of like coins, representation of gold coins. Many are like spilling out of these beautifully carved faces and urns, which Isabel specifically you would know. Like, are these with Botilla just knowing religion? That's her symbology, is the urn, the vase, whatever. And interspersed are these fields of flowers, and then a lot of like small humanoids dancing. It's like kind of a festival. Botilla is the patron of like halflings and festival in that nature. But as you kind of walk onto the bridge, Anna kind of leading the way towards Clavius. I'll let the conversation happen.
So Clavius's intention is to start up a conversation with Anna. And he would start off with small talk, just kind of looking over the past few weeks and ask her, you know, it's been kind of a long path, the Blade Singer and Sara and the fate of the first expedition. How are you holding up? And she would say something Anna-ish. Insert for YouTube video here.
Perfect.
And he would kind of be halfway listening, and just kind of speaking his thoughts out loud, say to her, you know, it took me 41 years to learn how to let go, to cut the anchor loose. I guess I'm still learning new things. And he'll pull a wine bottle from his cloak and finish it off with a long chug. Learning new things, like learning to drink something other than whiskey. Although this doesn't taste quite as good, that's for sure. And then he'll look out kind of at the top of this bridge, looking over the city, not speaking directly at Anna, but just kind of stream of consciousness, speaking with her as a witness, and would say, you know, Anna, I've spent a lifetime at war with myself and spent a lifetime hiding. I think there are some ways we're a lot alike. The isolation, constantly having to adapt to my surroundings, always looking back over my shoulder to see that memory, that shadow reminding me of what was. The struggle of carrying the burden of what I was born into. But now, let me tell you, it's a wonderful thing to be at peace. To have the past shape you, but not be the master of you. But there are also ways we're very different. There are doors that you can open that the rest of us would never be able to open. This land will need a champion, a leader, Someone with the pedigree of lineage, but with the humility of the oppressed. Someone who can appeal to the nobleman, but sympathize with the outcast. Someone who can deftly avoid the barbs of the politician, but also draw the blood of those that would enslave her people. Blood hunter, princess. Your blood is not like my blood. It's never too late to become someone new, someone needed. And Clavius Hart of Dale Ridge will breathe in the air of a free man, look out over the chasm beyond the threshold of the bridge and say under his breath, the most important step a man can take is the next one. And he will step over the ledge.
Blackout. Moments later, white text. The Burnt. Chapter 2.